Hey docs, I've got 3 tips that are totally usable and are gonna help you out right away. When it comes to running your practice, I'm gonna give you some things that'll give you some freedom inside your office. Now, one of the first things is when you do your report of findings, too many docs are pushing a timetable, they're pushing their agenda on the patient without ever getting a sense of where the patient is at. So my first tip for you today is ask at the report of findings. Before I ever give recommendations, before I ever tell somebody what I think they need to heal, I'll always ask them what they think their time frame is. And when you do this correctly in your day one, you should be getting an answer in the term of years. In other words, I'll ask my patient at the report of findings how long they think it'll take to heal, how long they think it's going to need to get better, and almost always the answer comes back in years, not months, and definitely not weeks, and it certainly isn't today. So the reason is when you do your day one right, and we call it the fat day one, you're going to have value going into your day two, where you always got to get a sense of what they think. How long do you think it's going to take to heal, John? I don't know, 2 years, doc. Cool, let me show you what I found. And then your recommendations almost always come way under that as far as the care plan. So point number one is ask them at the report of findings what they think it's going to take to get better. Number two, realize that trust is the currency of the future. What I mean is you need to have the patient's trust to get them in, to get them excited, and to get them started. And a lot of times the first ask we have of the patient to commit to time, it's just too long. And it goes back to that first tip. We want to know what their time frame is, and yet we haven't delivered on the goods. If you're laying out care plans that are 6 months to a year long, I'm telling you, in today's society, you're almost asking for too great of a commitment without ever delivering on the goods. So realize if you shorten up your initial care plans, it's easy to get people on for wellness care for the rest of their life. And most of my wellness patients are coming in at least once a week. So it's a whole different mindset, but it's absolutely value-based on what it is that you can deliver. So point number two is trust is the currency of the future, and make your second care plans bigger than your initial care plans because you've delivered on the promise. Now, what I mean by that, too, is when you deliver on the first part of your care, then the second part of your care, you should have a higher percentage of people that re-up for second care plans after the first care plan. So let's say your report of findings percentage is 60%. Not great. I've heard of worse, but definitely nothing to brag about, right? 60% of your R2s sign up. And then going into your wellness care recommendations, your percentage should be above that. It should be 70 or 80%. In other words, majority of your patients completing corrective care are so excited that they'll continue on with you. And again, if your systems are set up right, that's key. Now, I'm going to throw a bonus in here in just a second because it ties back into that recommendation and some of the stereotypes that we play against. But point number three is, as a profession, we've had an obsession with neomania. As a profession, we've had the obsession with neomania. And what that means is the new and the shiny always gets our excitement. So the reason I'm standing here in Brussels in front of the Atomium is that is a big atom from the 1950s World Fair that was here in Brussels, Belgium. And the reason I wanted to stand here and do this video is we teach a 2-day program called Elements of Closing. And the reason it is the elements, it is very much formulaic. There's very much a recipe, a chemistry of sorts that needs to happen, both on the doctor's side and on the patient side. But I'd tell you what we did wrong in this as a profession up to this point is that we've really focused on what the doctors need to do, not looking at the recipe and the chemistry of the patient. So usually what that means is you've got to get enthusiastic to do your report of findings or your day two. You've got to have great passion because passion sells. Well, my question is, what if you're not a passionate person? What if you're not enthusiastic because maybe you just had a new baby at home and you don't have a lot of energy, you're not getting a lot of sleep. Maybe you just had your third child and you're wiped out. Look, I've been there. I get it. And then the enthusiasm, the passion, it kind of wears off. Or even worse yet, all of your systems and all of your procedures are based on your charisma. And I've seen it time and time again, which is why I'm excited to teach the elements of closing. It's formulaic. It's like the chemistry here in Brussels. You can understand what it takes on the patient side And the truth is, on the doctor side, it doesn't really change. You run your systems. And what I mean by that is you have to do certain things like package against stereotypes. If you know what's in the patient's mind is a certain stereotype, we know trust is the currency of the future. We have this whole neomania, this craze for something new and shiny. I've been teaching day 1, day 2 procedures as far back as 15 years ago. See, Billy DeMoss and I were teaching nuts and bolts, chiropractic nuts and bolts 15 years ago, and that actually gave rise to the California Jam. So what I can tell you is we have a track record of results, hundreds of doctors, and in my system, I'm replaceable. The reason I can be here in Belgium and teaching up the road in Amsterdam is that I have a system that's made it not personality driven. It is formulaic. I don't need to be there. Majority of our people that sign up for wellness care, it's a higher percentage than the corrective care patients, and that should be true in every practice. I'm making docs the highest paid chiropractor in their town, no matter where we go in the globe. So we were sold out in London. We're oversold in Amsterdam. That's a problem for another time. And if you want some bonus gifts, comment down below, because I can give you some things that will help you out as far as packaging against the stereotype. So if you want an audio gift, comment down below, and I'll give you an audio gift of how you can use this right away too, how you can package against stereotypes. And above all, I would say get to our 2-day training, Elements of Closing. I've got an associate model where I can step out or step into my office. We do a higher volume than 95% of the profession, but perhaps most importantly is I take more vacation weeks than even my European friends, and we are always the highest paid doc in my town. And I want to make sure you get those same things. A lot of vacation and holiday time off, and if we can make you the highest paid doc, then there's perceived value that goes with that, and we can teach you how to deliver on the goods. These are things that I think are fundamental in chiropractic. It is a chemistry. And if you want a bonus gift, just comment down below. I'll shoot you an audio of how you can start to package against stereotypes. You know the elephants in the room. And if you don't say the right things and package yourself against it, you're always going to have this force working against you, and it's going to decrease the signups. My goal is to get people on a care plan and face down on the table. Pay-as-you-go doesn't work because they rarely pay and they always go. And even here in Europe, in some of the strictest environments like the UK, we've got the scientific studies and research now that'll validate you putting them on a care plan and even wellness care beyond that. And again, your second ratio of people signing up for care should be higher than the initial percentage. It is a healthy practice, and I've done so many practice evaluations recently that most docs are coming in under. So if they sign up 60% at their reported findings, which isn't good, then they're signing up 40% for their wellness plans, and that, my friends, is an indicator. It's a practice indicator. There's a problem, and we can fix it. So get to Elements of Closing. Hopefully you enjoyed these 3 tips. Let's get you out of being a psychoanalyzer. Let's get you out of being enthusiastic and passionate to get your reported findings. Run a recipe. There is a chemistry to success, and we've had it. I've been teaching for over 15 years. And about 10 years ago, I was up the road with Patch and Tempo, teaching in Amsterdam to where some cool concepts really changed my practice. But 15 years ago, I was teaching with Billy DeMoss, day 1, day 2 procedures called Chiropractic Nuts and Bolts. And we had t-shirts that said, "Got nuts," as only Billy DeMoss can do. And then he wanted to have one that's, well, never mind all that. Look, if you're watching this far into the video, in the comment box, type down below, "Got nuts." We might have a little something extra for you, because we all know Billy D is crazy, but he's right on point, and we've been teaching this stuff with a track record of success. It's formulaic, the atomium. It's a molecule for the 1950 World Fair, and I think they're onto something when it comes to knowing what a recipe is. We got it. Elements of Closing. Hopefully we will see you there.